Peace. Welcome to Spears and Mics. I'm L1. Got the brother Watt Slice in the building with us, and
Peace, peace.
and the brother Just P as well. Um, yeah, Mobb Deep, the infamous 30 years. It's crazy, crazy. We were just here. We just did a couple months ago. We did the 25th of what was it? Hell on Earth, right?
No, murder music.
Oh,
We
was
did
it
murder
Murder
music.
Music? Yeah, because Hell on Earth
Yeah.
is older than that, right?
Yeah.
Well, next year will be the 30th for Hell on Earth. You know what I mean? Yeah. You really feel old when you start to think about the albums that you loved are turning 30. And, while we're on this subject, before we even get into the infamous, we were supposed to do an episode on Return to the 36 Chambers for Old Dirty. We might probably get into that at some point down the line. We definitely want to talk about that album because it was crazy. Um,
hmm
like I know it's an album that the three of us have probably bumped just probably as much as we bumped the infamous. But
Still.
yeah, yeah, still to this
Yeah.
day, and they both sound incredible. Rest in peace to Old Dirty, rest in peace to Prodigy. Um, Shout out to Havoc. Havoc still making
Um,
incredible beats. His rhymes are better.
Rapinoid.
Bro, peace to Big Noid. He's definitely a part of all this success. And should be recognized for doing so. But the infamous, before we like get into it, so it was like April 20 something towards the end, I think April 27th or 26th, I think it came out 1995. So I was about in the eighth grade when that came out. And I do remember buying the album the week of release. Um, how I was buying these albums, well, first off, like I can't even remember like how I would have
You
15
stole it.
bucks. No, there was a lot of albums that I did take, or had somebody steal for me and give them $5 instead of paying
You,
15.
you was in
Um,
Nobody Beats the Wiz boosting.
well, I think I told y'all the story. I believe I got caught stealing the infamous cassette and Nobody Beats the Wiz. That was what I got caught. I was unraveling the cellophane, is that what
The
it's called?
cellophane. Yeah, the
Yeah.
cellophane plastic.
And the
Yeah.
dude, I was playing the counter close, the counter was high, and I don't know, he probably was distrustful of me, like where'd this dude go? I was right there in the cut underneath, you know what I'm saying, unraveling, and he was like, yo, put that back. He's like, I see you. I was like, oh no, no, no. Like I just put it back. But I did wind up buying it. And I believe I cut school for a lot of these albums when they dropped. That was
Yeah.
the theme.
Same here.
Um,
Yep.
just be like it's Tuesday. I know the album coming out or Friday. I'm not sure if it was always on a Tuesday back then, but whenever the album was coming out, I was cutting school. Because I could just one of the vivid me cutting schools was like, yo, for summer school, when Raekwon album came out, only built for Cuban links. I was in summer school, eighth grade, real shit, 95. And summer school, you only allowed to miss certain amount of days. And
I think
if
like
you,
three.
yeah, three is the max, right? So
Mhm.
if you go over that third, you can miss the three, but when you go over that third, that's it. Even the lateness could bang you out, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, word.
And I've had it happen to me where I lost a class like that, like, or it's just a complete waste of your summer because you go to school for all those months in the flaming heat with no air conditioner, probably no fan, for a bunch of BS, right? But that day, if I had, I know I was saving my days that I could miss for that date when that came out and I was out of there. I wasn't going to school that day. That was probably my third day, and then I probably just finished up because it just finished up towards like
So
the end of August anyway. But that was the MO, man, for these albums when we were kids, cutting school, picking it up. If I didn't have it, man, maybe your best man had it and you had to hear it. Like, even if you had to go to the wall or whatever store that, you know what I'm saying, like you could put the headphones on and you had to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't no going on your computer, wasn't no going on your tablet. Somebody had to have the
right.
physical, you know what I'm saying? And if you couldn't afford to buy the physical, then you had to go to the store and try to listen to it. You know what I'm saying? What about y'all? Like, do y'all remember like hearing it right away, buying it right away?
Somebody on my block had it. I don't remember who it was. He had the tape, and because of course, "Survival of the Fittest" was one of the singles. I think it was one of the first singles,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was hyped off of that, off of the video.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Off of the rhymes, because like I was talking about it earlier, like they really changed their whole style from Juvenile Hell to Infamous. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Even though they were much younger, like the rhymes, the beats were totally different. So they
2 years
really
made
was
a big
coming with a
difference.
yeah, they really were coming with like some. I'm like, yo, these the same dudes from Hit It From the Back and Peer Pressure. Even though they
Or
was always rhyming, they were talented, but like when I heard that, you
right.
know what I'm saying? Like the first song, the start of your ending, I'm like, wow, I'm like, this is crazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think somebody on my block had it, and we was zoning out to it or whatever. But
They probably blew your wig open when you heard it, right?
yeah, 95. That April of 95, I was turning 13.
Right. Mad young.
You know what I'm saying? Word, like probably shouldn't even been listening to it.
Right. Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I
Right.
mean? Like, but
Right.
yeah, nah, we was out there, boom box outside. Everybody had like, you on the block,
Yeah.
boom
Yeah.
box. Somebody had the boom box, like, yo,
Yeah,
bring the
of
radio
course.
out.
Of
You know what
course,
I'm
of
saying?
course.
Bring the
That's the best
radio
way
out.
to that's probably like after you hear it for yourself one initial time, because I like to zone out on the album. No,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
listen,
yeah,
let
yeah,
it
yeah.
play all the way through. I don't, even if it's something's trash, I'm just gonna let it
Right,
rock.
right, right.
And while I'm reading the notes, you know what I'm saying, the pamphlet, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right, right.
You know what I'm saying? So that, because then you collectively get the feeling like when you out with the boombox.
Mm.
Now if your man be like, oh, that joint is trash, skip that, or fast forward it, then it's influencing you to think that that song is trash too. But
Right.
I don't know not a soul from any childhood friend that I could even think of that thought that album was weak. That was one of the
Nah,
greatest.
ain't no weak songs on
It's
there.
not. I don't think it got five mics in the source. I don't
I don't
recall
know
what the
why
score
not. I
was.
don't know why
You
not.
know what I'm saying? But it was worthy of it because there was no weakness to production,
Yeah.
Havoc, whether it be Havoc or the two joints that Q-Tip did, which is I think what you said, Drink Away the Pain and Give Up the
And
Goods,
give up the goods, yeah.
which are both incredible joints too.
But like Party Over is my least favorite, and it's the
Mm,
last song, but I still listen to Party Over. Like I'm not gonna be like listen to what's the song before that? Drink Away the Pain, right? I think Drink
I
Away
think
the
Drink Away
Pain
the
is
Pain,
the
yeah.
song before that. And like I'm not gonna like listen to Drink Away the Pain and then turn off Party Over. You know what I'm saying? Especially like during that time, like Noid was my guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I liked when they collabed with Noid. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
right.
So
I always felt like
um
Noise should have been the third official member. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, I
But
think
he
he would
was
have
an
brought something
artist.
to it.
He was a solo artist under Infamous Records.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like I think he was the first solo artist signed when they had their own label or whatever label going on. Um yeah, man, that album is fire though. I listened
indeed.
to it today. I
Well,
listened to it today. Not that I needed to listen to it today for the episode, but I just
mm,
listened to it just because. You
hmm
know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, yo, the production is crazy. And like when you were saying earlier off camera how Q-Tip like redid the drums on a couple of joints, you could tell. You could tell a Q-Tip drum, and
hmm
you could always tell a Havoc beat by the
hmm
snare and the hi-hats. You know what
hmm
I'm saying? So when you listen to Up North Trip, it makes sense that Q-Tip worked on the drums. And when you
hmm
listen to even I think not Temperatures Rising, Up North Trife Life. You listen to Trife Life and you just like, all right, that's Q-Tip. But
hmm
then when you listen to Temperatures Rising, which is one of my favorite songs on the album, that's one of my
hmm
favorites,
hmm
um, you know that's Havoc.
hmm
You know the drums, you know everything is Havoc because of that
Wow.
snare. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like when you hear the snares, like Havoc was like notorious for. I mean, his beats like evolved over time, and like
Hmm.
he's still an incredible producer. But like in the early stages, I think they were saying like back then, Prodigy actually used to do the beats.
Right, initially, yeah.
You know, initially,
Right, and
like for
Havoc
the
taught
first
Prodigy
album,
how to rhyme.
right,
That's the
right,
crazy shit. They
right.
they had the
Because
roles reversal.
what's wild is like not to get away from the album, but like Havoc was a solo artist before Mobb Deep formed, and he was doing joints um with Trage, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of the Queensbridge dudes. 'Cause I remember Tragedy was saying like he was under him,
Mm,
you know what I'm saying, like kind of, sort of, you know what I'm saying. I guess because of the relationship with Havoc's brother, Killer Black,
mm,
you know, like he was you know, like I guess his understudy, you could say,
mm.
something like that before Prodigy came around, you know, but
P glitching.
yeah, no. He'll be back soon. Um,
In the Matrix.
yeah, yeah, but like to hear Juvenile Hell, because I had all of their albums, of course, you know, I'm CD collector, but
Hmm.
I had all of their joints, and just to hear like the two, like you said, a 2 year growth from Juvenile Hell
Hmm.
to the Infamous was crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
From
I
hit
never.
it to the hit it
Right.
from the back to rock you in your face, stab your brain with your nose bone.
Well, yeah.
You know what
So
I'm saying? Is
yeah.
very drastic,
Right.
very
And
like,
and
you know what I'm
I just
saying?
remember like I'm not sure if the single. I think the single came out first, right? For what's the first single again? I'm bugging out.
Survival of the fittest.
Survival of is it Survival of the Fittest?
Yeah,
Um,
I believe Survival of the Fittest was the first single.
what's the second single?
Shook ones.
Okay. I thought it was opposite because if I saw the video for Shook Ones before I saw the video for Survival of the Fittest. But I could
I
be
could
wrong.
be.
I could be
I don't
wrong.
know.
But I just
I know they
remember
were both singles though.
I remember just the Shook Ones too, hearing that stove clicking and seeing that on Rap City or Yo
Oh
MTV
yeah, yeah,
Raps or the
yeah, yeah,
Box or
yeah.
whatever, I had seen it on. And when I'm only 19, but my mind is old, you know what I'm saying? Like hearing that and you thinking like, cause I'm 15 at the time, and I'm like, man, this dude is 19. He's only a few years older than me, and I felt like I related to that because I'm like 15, but I felt like I was 20 already. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right,
and
right, right.
just to know how young they were, because they're actually childhood stars, like basically, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because their debut album came out when they're like 17, 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? So it's an incredible experience, man. It's one of my all-time favorites. Like I could go into my '95 yearbook for eighth grade, and I remember putting Trife Life as one of my favorite songs of the year. Because in the yearbook, it asked you what are your favorite songs of 1995, and Trife Life was one of them. Why I like Trife Life the most was because the whole, if y'all know, if anyone that listens to it know that they're talking about riding the train to Brooklyn and they get off on the G train, they're in Bed-Stuy, and that's, where I grew up at before I moved to Long Island. So, I felt like excited to know that dudes was respecting, my neighborhood, like, you know what I'm saying? Because they from Queensbridge, but they know when they move into Brooklyn, they gotta move accordingly. So I thought that shit was dope, man. And I know like Prodigy had like a connection out there because I believe Illa G and them is from
Trilogy,
Bed-Stuy.
yeah.
Illa G from
Hmm.
Sumner also, like same building,
Hmm.
same
Hmm.
houses that I grew up in. So I know there's a connection between,
They went to high school together.
oh, word?
Yeah, Illa G went to art and design with them.
Oh, okay. So that's probably how
Yeah.
they all met. And that's
Hmm.
incredible talent, the talent that came out of that school. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's crazy. It's kind of a historic school in New York City
Yeah.
for talented
Took the test to get
individuals.
in there.
Well,
Yeah,
yo, so
yeah,
you
yeah.
had a
I ain't get in because of my behavior though.
yeah, yeah.
I went for architectural drafting, but yeah, yeah.
Mm.
That is funny because what year was that blizzard? 95, wasn't it?
96 was the blizzard. Yeah,
96. All
96.
right, so
Yeah, the
I
wicked
took the
one.
test. I took the test over there. My mom took me. I took the test, and when we was crossing the 59th Street Bridge to go back home to Queens, it had just started snowing.
Oh
And I took the
man,
test at Art and Design,
you
and
lucky you wasn't on
it
that.
ain't stopped. It ain't stopped till like 2 days later.
You lucky you wasn't in Manhattan on that side of the blizzard. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
then we was leaving Manhattan. We was leaving. It had just
So,
started snowing though. It had just started
yeah,
when the joint. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Art and Design is a prestigious school, prestigious art school.
yeah.
Um,
It indeed it
New York
is.
City. My cousin
Um,
graduated from there too.
I thought the video was dope, right? How Prodigy, I guess, was driving across the bridge. In the infamous
Hmm.
video, in the Shook Ones video,
Hmm. Hmm.
rhyming looked like he had some type of act legend or, act vigor, some type of
Hmm.
Acura. It looked like,
So
which
that was the
was
times.
right. That was the car of
Acuras and Maximas.
right. You know what I'm saying? Like you had to have the Acura, especially if he was a
Hmm.
dope boy,
Yeah,
or
the legend.
right. So it's crazy because like they were wild young and they had the Hennessy jerseys on. A lot of people probably never even had a sip of Hennessy at that point in their
They had the
life.
Hennessy jersey and spelled it wrong.
Wow, that's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I think they had an extra S. I
Right.
think they had an
Well,
extra S.
well, if you recall, a lot of hip hop dudes have mispronounced a lot of different brands and labels throughout their
I
song.
think they did it purposely. I think Prodigy
Well,
said they did it purposely.
oh
Yeah,
well,
and they were like the poster boys for Hennessy though. Like you said, like they
well,
really was because nobody wasn't talking about it like that.
right. Them and Nas
Hmm.
like definitely been,
Hmm.
see, Nas definitely
Hmm.
got the bag off for all of that now because he's like a
Hmm.
brand ambassador. But yeah, whatever. I don't even want to talk about no more Hennessy or whatever. But
Right.
um, I thought all the videos were crazy for the album, man. It's just it doesn't sound bad at all. Like like
No.
like we talking 30 years, right? So you would think that like I think you could put it on with like a younger head, like you know what I'm saying. So like if I'm 45, I'm gonna be 45, right? Like I'm confident that you could put that on for a 25-year-old right now, and him
Yeah.
like kind of
Sonically, it still
yeah,
sounds
him
good.
like kind of not say like, yo, this shit sound whack or wow old or it sound dated. It don't sound dated. Like it sound
No, I
like you
don't.
said, sonically it still sounds great. You know what
But
I'm
if you
saying?
listen to them talk about it,
Hmm.
um, they might be like, yeah, well, this is because they evolved in their producing. Like I hear RZA and they talk about old albums and they be like, yo, like people that's interviewing them, like, yo, this joint sound flawless. He was like, but I could point out all the mistakes.
Mm. Right.
You know what I'm saying? I could
Right.
point out all the mistakes. Like I think like having RZA was just like just doing it.
Hmm.
And then like, however it came out, it came out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I like the raw, like Have sound was raw. Like I
Right.
said, with the snares and the kicks, like you knew it was him.
Yeah.
Them dirty drums.
Yeah. It was distinctive.
You know what I'm saying?
I wish Nas would have did more work with Havoc. I know he got quite a bit of joints with Havoc throughout the years, but I wish he would work. I would have liked to see a Havoc solo. I mean, probably now in Nas's career now maybe not, but like years ago, I would have loved to hear Havoc like do like just him and Nas. You know what I mean? Um, but Havoc is one of my top five producers of all time in hip hop, and not to say that I think I could probably name like 10 producers that are better than him. And I say that respectfully, but to me, he is like one and two with RZA and Havoc. RZA, Havoc, and Primo are my three favorite producers in hip hop. And I know
Not a
that's
bad
wow,
choice.
East
That's
Coast
not a
biased,
bad
I guess
list.
some would say. But
Not a bad
Primo from
list.
Houston, so you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, those are just because like if I just compile all my favorite records, man, those are the producers that worked on a bunch of the material that I've grown to love throughout my childhood. You know what I'm saying? I can't I can't listen to like any other producers and say that I feel the same like I feel about RZA, um, Havoc, or Primo. Like if I deleted them three, I don't even know. Like some of my most my greatest loves, my greatest songs would not be. You know what I mean? Um, but I said my favorite song on the album is Trife Life. What's your absolute favorite that you could think of? And then, we'll probably do two more joints that stand out.
Hmm.
It's a tough one
Yeah,
because
cause like
they're
I said,
all
I was
great.
listening to it today.
They're all
Yeah,
good.
yeah, and it's just like,
They're all so good. How do you decide? Like,
yeah,
and it might change, right? Because you might be in a certain mood that you may bang with one song, but then if you're in a different vibe or different space, you might think something else is, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think I'm gonna go with Give Up the Goods.
mhm, it's a great choice. It's not a bad
I like Give
choice,
Up the Goods.
it's
I
not a
just
bad choice.
just because Queens get the money, long time no cash.
Hmm.
Just because of that alone, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And then it's
Hmm.
Q-Tip produced. That's he from my neighborhood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just on some Queens. I'm Queen. I can be Queens biased at times, but I'm a tough critic on Queens also.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but Give Up the Goods is my joint.
Right. Um, I would say one of my favorite joints on the album is Right Back at You. Right. That's the joint
Mhm. Oh, with Ghost,
with Ghost and Ray. And
right? Annoyed.
right. Annoyed. Again, just we talking all of them, right? When you look at like the idea that like Mobb Deep is on fire, right? Well, they're just on fire right then and there at that particular point in time. And then they come out with Ray and Ghost that's on fire. It was like perfect
Hmm.
timing. And of course, that's orchestrated by Steve Rifkin and Loud, which is
Right.
a flawless move because you putting some of your main acts together on a song and you made like I guess maybe it didn't receive like critical success, but for us it was a hit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
us it was a hit.
Absolutely.
And
And that
that
beat is fire.
right, it really is. Man, that's a banger. You know what I'm saying? Um
Yeah.
so what else now for you? What would you say like one of your next favorite
Um,
joints?
Temperatures rising.
Yeah, a joint is fire.
Yeah, yeah,
Who's singing
yeah.
on that?
I don't even know,
She
yo. I
did her
thought it was
thing.
Miss Jones at first, but I,
Right.
I always used to think it was Miss Jones,
Right.
but it's not Miss Jones.
She did her
But
thing. She
whoever it
added a
is,
nice element to the song,
it
like,
wasn't Chinky. It sure wasn't Chinky from Queensbridge.
mm,
Because
or
they be, like Chinky was like the songstress of Queensbridge. She getting on everybody joint. Probably somebody, I don't know, man. It might have been somebody that ain't get paid. I don't know.
for
You
for
know what I mean?
somebody cut the
Like,
check. Steve Rifkin cut the check.
they
She
probably
made
found her.
that
Like,
song.
it'd be so many people, like, you know what I'm saying, do an ad, or somebody might be in the studio, like, yo, I could
Right.
sing. Be like, oh, yeah, let's go
Right. Yeah.
sing this real quick.
She might have brought the bud along to the stew.
Right, right. Or
And
she might have been somebody girl or
or bring the
something at the
shorties
time.
or bring a bunch of girls to the
Yeah,
studio that
yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah. And
saying?
I got to look at the credits because
And they
it
like,
never said
yo,
featuring nobody.
right, right. That's what I'm
It
saying.
never
Like it's not
said,
like with the Wu-Tang you see featuring
yeah.
Tequila or Blue
Or Blue
Raspberry.
Rider. Right,
You know what
right,
I'm
right,
saying? Like
right, right,
they gave the credits, you know what I'm saying, to to
right.
the sisters that were singing. But this is like a mystery. I'm sure we could look it up. And I got the credits or whatever right in front of me, but what's it called? I saw that the album was certified platinum, so that's a dope milestone. And it was also listed as Rolling Stone put it as one of the top 500 albums of all time, which is again, I mean, when we think about any genre, it's not 500 hip hop albums. We're talking about 500 albums, period, of any genre. That's incredible to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
That's
right.
a great recognition. Like man, think about all the people that make music, artists. Like if someone could say, "Hey, Rolling Stone put us as, one of the top 500 albums of all time," that's a big honor and a big achievement. Again, platinum success. Um, and for an album that really don't got no commercial appeal or like, you know what I'm saying, no,
Right.
like just I mean,
They
hip
don't
hop
have
was
no
more gritty.
commercial songs.
Right. There's
Yeah, they
nothing
don't have no
commercial
commercial.
about it. So to reach that,
Even Drink Away the Pain,
right.
like
Yeah,
you know,
right. You know what I'm saying? You got Q-Tip
I've
on there,
heard them
but
play. I've heard them play "Give Up the Goods" at parties before, but that's not a party song. Like
it's not a party
the beat
record.
might be a party beat.
Right.
It might be, but you listen to the lyrics, they ain't really "Give Up the Goods" means you getting robbed. Like
Right.
they say it, "Give up the goods to get sprayed." Like
Right. Yeah, right. That's not radio friendly or
nah,
it's not an
nah.
attempt at a hit
Neither is
record.
"Drink Away the Pain."
Right.
Neither is "Drink Away
Um
the Pain."
so they did come out with a video for Survival of the Fittest as well, right?
Hmm.
Right? That's what Nas, right? And I think they were what in the bridge they had the bulletproof vest on, if I recall,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And that was like I guess the reaction, if I recall, everybody was talking about, oh, they got the bulletproof vest, like shit is real. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
impressionable as a youth and you see them with that, then you thinking like, yo, they really living what they talking about. And
Yeah.
um when you for those that never read like Prodigy's book or never heard it, it's available on Audible. I have the physical copy. I also have the Audible copy because he narrates the story himself for Audible. And I know what you read the book or heard it because we've talked about
Hmm.
it before.
Hmm.
That's an incredible book. For Mobb Deep fans, if you haven't heard it, definitely go pick that up on Audible. And on top of that, it has some like unreleased songs at the end of the Audible too, for those that don't
Right.
know. So if you're a real fan, you get to hear some songs you may or may not have heard. But they are available on Audible, and he does narrate the whole entire book, and it's better to hear it in his own words versus reading it. But there's a lot of stories where a lot of gun charges, a lot of violence that Prodigy experienced, some of it in whether it be in Queensbridge, I guess trying to prove that he could stand amongst them because he's not from Queensbridge, he's from Long Island, he's from Hempstead to be exact. I think Parkside, if I recall, aka Darkside. Um, and I guess he was accepted in the bridge. Um, and he kind of represented it to the fullest. But he had a lot of experiences dealing with violence. So, certain people rap about it and certain people live it. Seemed like Prodigy was really living what he was talking about. I remember as a youth, kids were thinking that when Pac had beef with Mobb Deep, like Mobb Deep was gonna be scared to engage with them. And I mean, we didn't know, right? Because you don't know who's who and what's what at a young age. We're all teenagers, and Pac's image and the imagery and his connections to the West Coast would lead you to believe that, he was a real gangster or a gang member. Um, he really wasn't though. And then, Prodigy may have actually been the real gangster out of the whole situation. But that doesn't validate him or make him any greater. But he did have live experiences and some crazy stories throughout that book. So if you're a fan of Mobb Deep, I definitely recommend that you go out there and check that book. Um, rest in peace to Pac, rest in peace to Prodigy. I'll name so Strife Life, um, Give Up the no, what was the joint with Ghost and Ray that I
Right back
said?
at you.
Right Back
Right
at
back at
You.
you.
And then I'm gonna go with Survival of the Fittest as my three favorite joints. Um, and what's your third favorite joint?
Eye for an Eye with Nas and Ray.
Yeah, joint is fire.
Yeah. Same thing with Nas back then was
Right,
kind of like undeniable at the
right.
time. And
Yeah,
then Ray, like you said, they was all three. Mobb Deep was on fire. Ray, because Cuban Links was coming out. Illmatic was already out.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so like anything Nas was on was like dudes was fiending to hear Nas.
right.
Dudes was fiending to hear Nas, dudes was fiending to hear Ray, and then to have all four MCs on a song together with
It's
a
crazy.
Havoc beat is
It's
crazy.
crazy.
With
Right.
production is crazy.
Yeah. I remember like hearing Wu Gambino's around that same time and
Hmm.
what now was it Wu Gambino's? What was the joint? Not no Verbal Intercourse.
Verbal intercourse, verbal
Yeah,
intercourse,
Verbal
yeah.
Intercourse and hearing Nas on that, right? Because RZA did that, I guess produced that joint.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
hearing Nas on a RZA joint for the first time, that was like my favorite
Yo,
MC and my favorite producer. And Nas definitely didn't you know, leave any, he went in on that joint.
yeah, I told you I saw them perform it at the Wu-Tang and Nas show in
Man,
Ohio a couple years ago, me and Wise, and like, yo,
yeah, I was spazzing.
ah man,
When that
word
beat
for
came on,
word,
that beat though.
word for word, all three verses, word for word.
Yeah,
I could have went there and performed it.
right. Yeah, I feel
You
you.
know what I'm
That's a
saying?
fact.
Like,
Probably 8 out of 10 people in that building could have did any joint that.
there was a dude that was out, like he was sitting in like a little, like we was off to the side, but we was in the front, and he was in the front, like in the main joint, and we was off to the side. I told you M80 was on our side. M80 was
Hmm.
sitting like a little, like two rows behind us or whatever. And yo, I don't know if the dude probably heard me because he was like word for word all the bars and everything, every song, and he kept looking back at me,
Hmm.
and we was like both like going in, like, you know what I'm
Well,
saying, like on
yeah,
some true like
yeah, yeah.
Wu head,
Hmm.
Wu fanatic
Yeah.
type thing. But yeah, nah, eye for eye. Like I said, the whole entire album, you could pick whatever three songs, and you're
Right.
not gonna be wrong
Nah.
because like it's a no skip album.
Hmm.
Like it's no skip, even though like I
Hmm.
said, Party Over is kind of like, I guess that's a way to end an album, calling it
Right.
Party Over, because now it's over. Now it's over.
Word,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So you put the last song,
It
Party
was a good
Over, and
outro. It was a
that's
good
it after
outro.
that. Yeah,
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 it was a
yeah.
good
You know what I'm
outro.
saying?
It was a good outro. And
Yeah.
look at the, Juvenile Hell probably didn't um it didn't catch my attention, although I did, like Peer Pressure.
Mm-mm. Hmm.
I never bought it, you know what I'm saying? But like I did, remember hearing it. It was cool. But this was like a next,
They
they
have
stepped
video
up
for
to a next
Peer
level.
Pressure too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And hit it from the
Um,
back.
right. Um, this was like a next level. And I think we discussed it on a previous episode where I talked about Havoc was on Enter the Stage. You know what I'm saying? He got
Hmm.
bars on there. So like I said, and if y'all ever heard Buckshot on the Doggy Diamonds, he talked about it that he didn't even know Havoc was in a group, but he knew Havoc, like they just knew each other, and he knew Havoc rhymed, and he let Havoc get on the song because he's like, yo, that's my man. And then he wound up just finding out that he's in a group, and he like, yo, he rooting for him, and I was like, yo, that's crazy. Like they just let Havoc get on some organic, like not even knowing that he was gonna be a big star also. Because like
Right.
Mobb Deep, Black Moon, Boot Camp, Wu-Tang, these are like the ones that ushered in kind of a new era in New York City. Um, so it's incredible, man. I think to me, it's like a top 10 album in hip hop. For me personally, I'm
Hmm.
not saying that
Yeah.
we could probably listen, probably say there's other albums that are greater, other albums that are bigger. Um, but to me personally, like it's a go-to classic that will always bring me back to an era. And it does. It don't. I don't think it'll ever sound bad. You know what I'm saying? The production is
No.
that great. Um,
Think about this. The last rap battle in 8 Mile was over Shook Ones too.
or
So that just
right,
goes to show you, like
yeah,
that's the
right,
beat Eminem chose
right,
to end
right,
his joint, end the movie. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
Like
right,
that's just how important, like that
right.
album is important to hip hop, especially our era.
Yep,
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
And
Like it
important
brought a
to
whole different,
and important to those that followed that era too, because like Eminem
yeah.
is not from that era. He, came out in
Uh,
'99, but that's the one thing that, that's why I always give like M respect. Like people may discredit him because he
yeah.
sound a little cartoonish now, or his flows are a little different. Um, but like M is a true hip hop head. Like before,
No,
beyond being an
absolutely.
MC, like he always gives honor and respect to his greats. He's always shouted out Master Ace. He's always shouted
Hmm.
out Mobb Deep,
Redman.
Nas. He's
Hmm.
he's always given honor to the ones that came before him, right? Redman being one of his absolute favorites. So like that's why I give M big credit. And speaking beyond Eminem, like I think we got to give credit to Steve Rifkin also. I think like if
Hmm.
I look at all the executives, like right, like so we can't dispute there's some people that have done incredible things from an executive standpoint in hip hop, but like Steve Rifkin, man, like I mean he was going toe to toe with Def Jam, and I ain't gonna lie, like
No, he was.
Loud was making noise, big
Put out a
noise,
lot.
put out a
He put out a
lot.
lot. He put out a
Alcoholics,
lot.
Mobb
Hmm.
Deep, Wu
Hmm.
Tang. You know what I'm
Big pun.
saying? Right, Big Pun, 3 6 Mafia.
Three
Like
Six
we're not just
Mafia. Yep.
talking like yo, like what else? What man, no, Bone Thugs is Relativity. I was bugging for a second. But like yo, like there's a lot of acts, man. Loud was like I went to the what was it, the 25th anniversary of Loud or the 30th, whatever it was, a few years ago. That shit was bonkers. You know what I'm
Alcoholics
saying?
was his first group.
Right. That's a fact. That's a
Hmm.
fact. You
Alcoholics was
know,
his first group.
and
Yeah.
Steve Rifkin is still doing things in the industry. He's managing. I know he was managing DMX a few years ago, before he passed away. Um, I think Steve Rifkin is one of the most important executives in hip hop. You know what I mean? I would say, and Loud is one of my favorite. Right up there with Def Jam. Me personally, I'll put it above Def Jam. Um, but you can't dispute Def Jam's role in hip hop as a label. Um, shout out to Steve Rifkin, uh, and all those that have played a part in making Loud successful because they helped some of the greatest groups make it big, you know, for real. But Mobb Deep the Infamous, man, 30 years. If for some reason, if you never heard it, maybe you're young, maybe you're new to hip hop, maybe you're not well, maybe you haven't heard too much New York hip hop. You listening to like West Coast stuff or whatever. You know, if you ain't never heard the Infamous, man, put that on. It's necessary. It's mandatory. It's a must listen. No skips. Just let it rock. And while you're listening to the Infamous, you might as well go to Hell on Earth. You might as well go to Murder Music. You might as well go
Hmm.
check out Free Agents. You might as well go check out what else? Blood
You
Money.
can't even stream
Oosh,
free agents.
I
You
know
can't
it's
even
crazy.
stream that.
I
That's the
had the
only
I had
joint
the
you can't
double
stream.
disc. I had the
I
double
the
disc
double
with the
disc too.
bonus.
I had
The
to,
bonus joint is
yep.
crazy too. Free Agents is slept on,
Hmm.
man. If that album would have came
Yeah.
out like on a real label, like if it
Yeah.
was
That's when they
on
was
Loud
looking
or when they
for,
was with Jive, right? It was somewhere in
yeah,
between
yeah,
there.
because they went to yeah, yeah,
Free
because they
Agents
signed with
was
Jive and
crazy.
dropped Infamy and
Right.
the other joint,
Infamy, I think,
uh
is my least favorite of the
Infamy
whole.
and America's Nightmare.
No, America's Nightmare is fire to me. That's one of my
It is.
favorites.
It is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
America's
yeah.
Nightmares.
But would you agree
Infamy
that the
was,
Infamy is one of the
yeah, yeah,
I don't
the
want to say
weakest,
whackest
and
because
it's
it
not.
wasn't whack.
It's not Prodigy's greatest showing.
Right,
Um, I think like he wanted to diss Jay. I felt he was dissing Jay-Z on every song because
right,
that was right after the Summer Jam screen.
right.
They had some joints. They had some joints on there. That joint with Lil Mo was fire. Pray for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Absolutely.
joint, Burn with Vita and
Mm-hmm.
Noid. The joint, they had some joints. They had a joint with Nate Dogg. They had some
Mm-hmm.
joints, but it
Yeah.
wasn't
That Nate Dogg joint was getting buzz too. It was getting
yeah,
radio
dump
play.
dump dump that dump
Yeah.
dump dump. Yeah, nah,
But
that joint was,
but yeah. I would say
but yeah, their
like I
catalog
like
is incredible though.
Infamy the least, but America's
Yeah,
Nightmare, man, that was one of my joints, man. America's
yeah, yeah.
Nightmare. I don't
Uh,
like, I wasn't too big on Blood Money. There's some joints on there too.
It was cool.
Um,
It was all right.
but Free Agents, America's Nightmare, Hell on Earth,
They
Murder
have
Music, all
they
of
got a
that.
lot of unreleased music too.
Right, a lot.
Isn't they're putting out a Mobb Deep album? No,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
isn't
We talked
Nas
about
putting
it.
out one?
We talked about
Yeah,
it on the last
yeah, we did,
episode
we did.
because
Yeah, Master Pill's putting out.
Mass Appeal dropped that they're working with a lot of different legendary artists, and so you got Nas and Primo coming out, you got De La Soul coming out, you got a new Mobb Deep coming out.
Ghostface, Supreme Clientele too.
Right, right. So a lot of things to look forward to for the true hip hop heads coming on the way from Mass Appeal Records. Shout out to Nas, peace to Nas. Also, um, right, in reference to like you saying there's a lot of unreleased joints. There's joints where I don't know the name of the certain songs. I might have heard it on 89 Tech 9. Back with Stretch and Bobbito. I might have bought a J Love mixtape. J Love had wild, like,
Oh,
I mean,
Mom,
how much?
Queensbridge. Yeah, wow, Queensbridge
But man, I
songs.
done bought so many different J Loves off the strength of just trying to find unreleased mob shit. And you might have heard something on J Love that you might have never heard again, like ever. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
I don't know how that even happens. Like, how does J Love get his like? Does Havoc and P give him exclusives? Like, yo, here, keep this record because
I don't
we
know,
ain't turning it
but
in.
he's a
Or the
producer too, so he'll
right,
take a song and throw his beat on there
right, right.
because I've heard him do that for Cormega, Large Professor,
Uh,
Traj, and
uh-huh.
Mobb Deep. Lot of
Right.
Dark Man. He's done a lot. He's done J Love. Even though I ran into J Love on the Ave and he tried to front one time, and I
Well,
just was like, "Yo, don't nobody." Yeah, yeah. I ran into him on a Coliseum
only
like
the
years
real,
ago.
real has known. Like,
Years ago, I was like, "Oh snap!" I was like, "Yo, J Love." He was looking like I'm like, "Bruh, I'm just shouting you out. I ain't asked for no autograph or nothing. Like,
never.
I'm just saluting you. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? That's all. I'm just
right,
recognizing you.
right,
That's
right.
all. Ain't nothing too crazy."
Like it's like certain dudes, right, be trying to act Hollywood. Like, bro, we just giving you a little bit of love, man. We just giving you a little bit of recognition, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
9.9 out of 10 people probably not even know who certain people are. Like, I
yeah,
remember one time me and Lead Rock, we seen Ari the Rugged Man at the Long Island Railroad. We got the beads on or whatever. We went up to him, we like, yo, peace. We like, yo, we Zulu. And he like, where, how y'all recognize me? And we like, yo, we real hip hop heads. We know. He's like, y'all know me? Like, he's like, yo, this is crazy. Like, he was shocked that we called him out there. Like, he's tall. He's a big white dude. Like, he
yeah,
stands
yeah,
out.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
big dude. You know what I'm saying? And
One of the
he was
nicest too.
one of
One
the
of the
nicest.
nicest.
Yeah, like he could easily, go toe to toe with anybody, any MC. Man, I was just listening.
But
Yo, right? One of my coworkers, young dude, 25 years old, new real hip hop. I love dealing with young dudes, like talking to them about hip hop, right? And then like they surprised me, and he was like, "Yo, you know who I think's nice?" He told me Immortal Technique. I'm like, "What's 25 years old? Don't you know about Immortal Technique?" So he was telling me like Eminem is his favorite white boy in rap, and I said, "You ever heard of Ari the Rugged Man?" He said, "Nah." I put him on. I put the joint with him and Talib Kweli. I don't know if you could
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that
yeah,
joint. They got the
yeah, yeah,
video.
yeah,
You know, already
yeah, yeah,
that's they yo already was wilding on that shit.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm
I'm
saying?
telling you,
He's a titan.
nah, R.A. wilded on Hellraiser's song on the Renaissance on the
Mm-hmm.
and that's a song with Timbo King,
Right,
Tragedy,
Timbo King, nice.
and Timbo
Tragedies,
King track and Hellraiser,
right?
and
All
he went
three
off, and
wordsmiths, right?
RA like went off, and he's not just nice for a white dude. He's nice, like
Period.
RA is nice.
Don't even put
RA
him in
get,
don't even put him
yeah,
in
that's what
that.
I'm saying.
Don't
Yeah,
put
RA
R.A. the
get
Rugged
busy.
Man. Don't put R.A. the
Did
Rugged
songs
Man in
with
that white
Big.
boy rapper
Yeah, nah, he did real
joint.
songs with Biggie. He was
Right,
out before he was already the Rugged Man. He was Crustified Dibs, and he had a song with Big. He had a
right,
real song with Big when
right.
Big was trying to get on, like RA, but the labels couldn't deal with RA because he was crazy. Like he'll come in the record label meeting,
Yeah,
put his feet on the table, and start biting his toenails. Like that's one of the reports. Like I read an article where they was like he really walked in there, put his feet
yeah.
on the table, took his shoe off, and like while they was talking, he like he biting his toenails. But you know, he suffered. He might like his father had Agent Orange,
Right, right.
so you know like his
Yeah,
siblings
Mike.
was affected by it, and he
Right,
might be
right. Of
affected in
course.
some way.
Right. Yeah.
And he's dope with boxing commentary too.
Oh, word. I didn't
Like he
even know
loves
he's
boxing.
into.
He's a
Oh,
wild
word.
boxing fan. He's a wild boxing
Uh,
fan. Like he
I
used to
know.
have a YouTube. He probably still got a YouTube page. I used to see his videos sometimes, and he'll be like critiquing a fight.
Mm,
And he speaks very well.
that's
Speaks
dope,
very
man.
well.
Yeah, peace to Ari the Rugged Man. Also, I want to mention, like a lot of times, right, me and Watt and P and a lot of my people, we always talking about, the greats of certain boroughs or, we always talk about New York City, the greats in Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, right? And then we always talk about like Mount Vernon, like Heavy D and all these others like
Hmm.
or Yonkers, we talk about the locks and all the talent that come from Yonkers, right? But when people talk about the greatness in Long Island, they better start adding R.A. the Rugged Man to that list as well. Like,
Nah, for real,
too
for real.
often we talking about, oh yeah, yeah, Chuck D um and Flav, Public Enemy, and we
And
talk about Rock
Rock him,
Marcy, you know what I'm saying, Rakim. We talk
and
about
Doom.
right, Doom, and we talk about Keith Murray. But like, yo, when you
Mm-hmm.
start talking about Long Island, y'all better start mentioning R.A. the Rugged Man because he's one of the greats
Word.
out of Long Island as well. Um, and again, I don't want to hear no more, oh, R.A. is one of the nicest white boys in the game. He's one of the nicest MCs, period. Like,
Word.
white got nothing to do with him. Like, whatever is his background, but like his
What
skill
they
level
call like
is
Long Island steroid abusers.
word for real,
When
man.
they
Peace to
raw
R.A. the
raging, white
Rugged
boy
Man.
Kanan.
Peace to that dude Afro, his artist too. Afro nice also. You know what I'm saying?
Afro's his artist?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he
Well, I
got him
remember
signed.
he was a kid.
Right, right,
He was a kid. He
right.
kind of dope.
Yeah.
I
First time
fuck
I
with
ever heard him was with R.A. the Rugged Man. You know what I mean? I believe that's his artist. You know what I mean? If I'm
him.
not
That's
mistaken.
crazy.
Word. But yeah, man. Mobb Deep, the infamous 30 years, man. Salute the Havoc. Rest in peace, Prodigy. Peace to Noid. Peace to Q-Tip. Peace to Steve Rifkin, peace to Loud Staff, peace to everybody that put
Hmm.
together a magnificent, incredible, timeless hip hop album that we're gonna enjoy probably 30 years from now and say happy 60th. You know what I mean? It's that timeless, man.
Peace to the
Um,
infamous mob too, because they was on some of them skits.
word.
Also,
Word, definitely, definitely.
they
Peace to
got
the
to get
whole
their props
bridge
too.
too. Peace to the whole
Word.
bridge, man. The whole Mobb Deep situation just solidified that the bridge is one of the most greatest communities in hip hop. We're probably gonna get into that one day too. I know we've spoken about it, but we might have to break down like and not a debate, but just discuss is Compton or Queensbridge or is Jamaica or Brownsville, Brooklyn or Bed-Stuy, like these are all
Oh,
these
no,
neighborhoods that
Brownsville
have
got a lot of MCs.
Brownsville got a lot, a
Brownsville
lot.
got a
But
lot.
that's what I'm saying. Like this is what well, we got to discuss at length, man. We might have to bring a couple people on here to talk about it because there's certain
Brownsville got
regions
some
and
some
communities
titans.
that are talent rich that,
The
you
Bay
know,
too.
the Bay too, right? Yeah. You gotta throw Oakland in there too. There's just certain areas, man, that produced immense talent that contributed to the culture, and those communities gotta be respected. Like it's bulletproof. Like
Yeah, I
Brownsville,
don't.
Brooklyn. Wow. To me, I might put my money on Brownsville as being one of the like most
Nah, Brownsville
the most
got a
MCs.
lot of.
Like, we talking about mostly the whole entire boot camp clique is out of Brownsville. Smooth the
Mm-hmm.
Hustler, Trigger the Gambler, MOP.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Oh man, like it's so many, so many. It's a lot. But
Nah, it is.
that's for another episode, man. But if whether you listening to this on audio, if you're listening to it on audio, do me a favor, go on YouTube and hit that subscribe, hit the like button, drop a comment. Yo, let me hear y'all favorite song. Like, drop a comment. What's your favorite song off the Infamous? You know what I'm saying? Let
All
us know. You know what I'm saying? Is the Infamous your favorite Mob album? Is it Hell on Earth? Let us know. Talk to us about Mobb Deep in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Peace to the Zulus. R.I.P. Powwow. R.I.P. Lord Sharif. Man, peace and love, man.
right.
Have a good night, y'all. Salute. P, where you at?